We are just about to get through a path of Briar's limited banner in global, and with that, Texas the Omertosa, or Texas Altar, and Penance as 6 stars, and Luna Cup as our 5 star. Before we get to the banner itself, make sure to support my channel by liking, commenting and subscribing. It really means a lot to me. I would also like to point out that I only talk about these operators' gameplay, waifus and husbandos over meta any day. You should always pull for operators you want and like instead of listening to me. I am not your dad. And then, moving on to the banner itself. This is a must-pull banner. Texas Altar is absurdly powerful and versatile, and while Penance is a bit more niche, she is still an absolute powerhouse. So let's take a look at the operators, starting with Texas the Omertosa. She is an executor specialist and has very fast redeployment time. Her first talent gives her extra attack while her skill is active and reactivates her passive skill and heals her to max HP after she defeats an enemy for the first time. And her second talent gives her damage reduction and extra attack speed until she defeats an enemy. Her talents have great synergy with Texas Altar's role as an assassin who is constantly being redeployed, eliminating, debuffing, and crowd controlling enemies. Her future module gives her some extra attack while there are no nearby allies, and further boosts the attack she gets from the first talent. It's a nice module that further boosts Texas Altar's strengths as an assassin. Moving on to her skills. First of all of Texas Altar's skills are passives, and they're all good for different situations. Her first skill gives her a decent attack buff and makes her attacks inflict a long duration silence and arts damage over time effect. The skill is great for the situations where you need silence, but is overall Texas Altar's most niche skill. Her second skill gives an attack buff, deals AoE arts damage when she is deployed, and inflicts a powerful rest debuff to enemies. Texas Altar's attacks will also hit 2 times and deal arts damage for the skill's duration. The second skill provides very large amount of burst damage and allows your other arts damage sources to deal increased damage. It's a great skill for bursting down tougher targets and deals decent sustained DPS after the initial burst. And then finally, we have her third skill, that deals AoE arts damage, also stunning nearby enemies. And after that, the skill will hit up to 4 different targets, dealing extra arts damage and micro-stunning them. The third skill provides the highest burst damage and some very valuable crowd control with the shortest skill duration. Let's have a quick summary. Texas Altar is an executor specialist. She specializes in dealing high burst damage and inflicting crowd control and debuffs in short cycles, enabled by her extremely short redeployment time. Her first skill provides valuable very long duration silence and arts damage over time, while second skill provides AoE burst damage, very valuable rest debuff, and decent sustained DPS after the initial burst. And third skill provides the highest AoE burst damage with a decent duration stun, followed by more arts damage and micro stuns to up to 4 targets. While Texas Altar is absurdly powerful and versatile, like other fast redeployment operators, she requires very active playstyle, making her very AFK Knights unfriendly. She also eats through your DP and is partially enabled by how much DP you can generate and how fast, making Flak Vanguards and other DP generators pretty much must have with her. Overall, Texas the Omertosa is a must-have operator. She provides massive amounts of burst damage with lots of added utility on top. She fits extremely well burst damage and redeployment heavy meta and will be one of the most versatile and valuable operators in the whole game. However, she requires very active playstyle and isn't very AFK Knights friendly. She also requires you to have other operators that can generate lots of DP for her. Moving on to Penance, an enmity defender who cannot be directly healed by her allies. She gains a barrier after being deployed and after defeating an enemy. She also reflects arts damage back to her attackers if she is being attacked while she has a barrier generated by herself. She can generate absurd amounts of barrier with her talents and can become insanely tanky. Moving on to her skills. Her first skill is a low SP cost auto-triggering boost to her next attack, making it deal additional arts damage. The first skill also has a charge effect, charge meaning that the skill can keep recovering SP even after reaching max SP, entering charge state and gaining extra effect when reaching double the maximum SP. When charged, her first skill will also stun the target for up to 5 seconds. Overall, the first skill doesn't have much synergy with Penance's strength, but will provide value to AFK Knights enjoyers. Her second skill makes her stop attacking and gives very high damage reduction effect. She also deals arts damage to all nearby enemies and increases her barriers gained from the first talent. The second skill provides absurd amount of tankiness and is Penance's most defensive skill. And then finally, we have her third skill, that gives Penance large barrier, makes her attack slower, gives her massive attack boost and increases her taunt level. The third skill has great synergy with Penance's attack scaling damage reflection and allows Penance to deal large amounts of damage to her attackers. The skill is defensive recovery skill, making Penance vulnerable before the first activation that starts the barrier snowball. Let's have a quick summary. Penance is an enmity defender who specializes in generating absurd amounts of barrier, reflecting damage to her attackers and taunting enemies. Her first skill provides an auto-triggering arts damage source that can also inflict a long duration stun with its charged effect. Her second skill gives a massive amount of damage reduction, some AoE arts damage and more barrier gained from the first talent, but also makes Penance stop attacking. And her third skill provides more barrier instantly, increased taunt level and a massive attack boost while also making her attack slower. The third skill has great synergy with her attack scaling damage reflection, allowing her to deal massive damage to her attackers. She cannot be directly healed by her allies and she heavily relies on her own barrier generation to stay alive. Her defensive recovery third skill takes a while to get going and leaves Penance vulnerable before the first activation. Overall, Penance is a luxury operator. She can tank and deal unreasonable amounts of damage in the right situation. Her third skill, Taunt, combined with her damage reflection and massive attack boost can be very valuable, especially when dealing with annoying ranged enemies. However, enmity defenders as an archetype are a bit niche and hard to fully utilize. Penance also needs some ramp up time to start snowballing and generating massive amounts of barrier. And finally, let's take a quick look at the 5-star. I cannot recommend just then pulling for a 5-star if you aren't pulling for the banner 6 stars for whatever reason. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe for more Arknights content. Best of luck to everyone pulling this banner and see you in the next video.